My people, what's going on? What do you know? Good old Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, isn't well liked by the players. Who saw this one coming? USA Today conducted a poll, and he had a 61% disapproval rating. What do you know? The players, who are essentially the children, don't approve of their parent, Roger Goodell, cracking down on them. Let me ask you this. When you were a kid and your parents grounded you, took stuff away from you, did you look at that and say, you know what? This is going to make me a better person in the long run? Or did you say, I hate my parents? You didn't really hate them. You just hated them in the moment. It's the same thing with Roger Goodell. He's the disciplinarian. He's the sheriff. He's suspending players for off-the-field behavior. He'll fine you for hitting players. He seems to be universally hated. Let me ask you a question. What has Roger Goodell done that has severely hurt the league? What is it? What can you point to and say, this directly has affected the popularity and the growth of the sport? What? You can bellyache about certain things like Bountygate. He handled that atrociously. You could look at fining players and suspending players for quote-unquote egregious hits, yet we're still watching like crazy. It hasn't affected the popularity of the sport whatsoever. It's as popular as it's ever been. How about suspending players for off-the-field conduct? Since Goodell has been the commissioner of the NFL, with him cracking down on off-the-field bad behavior, the bad behavior has actually decreased. He's helping the NFL. And it's funny to me that people will look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who will cut a guy like Chris Rainey, who allegedly slapped around his girl. And they'll say, oh, it's a proud organization. They do things the right way. They don't put up with any of that stuff. Yet they'll turn around and say to Roger Goodell, what jurisdiction do you have, Sheriff? You're the judge, jury, and executioner. You've got too much power and you're abusing it. What's the difference? What's the difference? Chris Rainey wasn't prosecuted in a court of law. When Roger Goodell suspends a player for slapping around his girl or whatever, repeated bad behavior, I don't care that they're not convicted in a court of law. If you're arrested time and time and time again, where there's smoke, there's fire, baby. And that's what Roger Goodell is doing. He is cutting down on the BS, and I applaud him for that. It's making the NFL a stronger brand. Plus, he's made subtle changes. I love what he's done with the NFL draft, with the first round being in prime time. As far as growing the game and the popularity of it, having games abroad and overseas, that's helping grow the brand globally. Oh, and there's that little CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, which allows the NFL to be played for the next 10 years, which was negotiated with Roger Goodell in power. So for all the people who crack on Roger Goodell, here's what's really going on. People don't like when individuals have too much power that they see them abusing. And the slightest hint of them abusing that power, they overstate everything. Yes, he screwed up royally in the Bountygate investigation with the New Orleans Saints. That doesn't mean that he's abused his power in every single instance. Yet that's mainly the perception of the guy. I have no problem with Roger Goodell having a heavy hand when it comes to off-the-field suspensions. I would love for him to clarify the rules when it comes to egregious hits on the field. I want to see him do that, because there's too much gray area. I don't even know what an illegal hit is. He's not abusing his power. He's made the brand stronger, believe it or not. There's been more good than bad with Roger Goodell at the helm. And if you don't think so, point to something. Point to something that's a direct correlation to the NFL's decreasing popularity. The Pro Bowl, the freaking Pro Bowl, which is terrible, draws as much viewership as the World Series does. So I ask you, where has Roger Goodell screwed up to the point where the game is suffering? And it's obvious. Where? Where is it? Point to something. But go ahead, comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you approve of the job that Roger Goodell has done as the commissioner of the NFL? I do. What do you say? I'm Brian No, and that's a no-brainer.